I think we're going to have the most important subject today, in my opinion, and that's about music and NFTs. So I think everybody knows what an NFT is right now. And we got Kristen and Adam here on stage with us. Yay! All right.
Hi.
And they're going to explain us how it works in the music industry with NFTs. So please take the mic.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So my name is Kristen Dorr. I'm the VP of Marketing at LGND Music, which is a new and innovative NFT platform that's going to be launching in January.
Hi, my name is Adam Neisler. I am the VP of Engineering here at LGND Music, and I'm just very excited for what we're about to launch with Warner and our partnership with Spinnin.
Awesome. So today we're going to take you all the way back to basics. We felt like we wanted to come all the way to Amsterdam and we wanted to just educate people on Web3 and on music NFTs because that's a buzzword that you hear a ton nowadays. But like, what does that actually mean? What does Web3 actually mean for you as an artist or you as a musician or also for, the evolution of the music industry? So in order to do that, we thought we'd take you all the way back to, I believe it was 1989, to when Web 1 first actually launched. So this is like super basic HTML, right? It's the dawning of the World Wide Web. It's your static pages. It's read-only content. There's absolutely no mass publishing. But what this did with the dawning of the World Wide Web was it started to connect people. So you guys, of course, remember Tom, right? Like he was everybody's best friend. On MySpace. And then, of course, Craigslist. I remember the first time that I purchased something on Craigslist or that I had an interaction on Craigslist. And that was really what Web 1 was. And what's interesting is Craigslist still hasn't updated their interface because there hasn't been a need for that. So if you think all the way back to 1989, they were, kind of ahead of the curve. Then we go into 1999, and this is when Web 2.0 really started to surface. And this is when user-generated content or social networking, like we know of it today, your enhanced graphics, of course, your linked data, and your devices. This is when all of these websites that we all probably use every single day started to really make their appearance and also started to add a layer of convenience to our lives. What also happened with the dawning of Web 2.0 is things started to get a little more passive, right? Like there wasn't as much hands-on sort of content. And that's something that we started to see in music as well, is that it was less passive. It was more passive, excuse me. So then we fast forward to 2006, which feels like ages ago, but that's actually when Web3 was first, the term was first coined. And it's something that we all hear about nowadays. All you hear about is Web3. What Web3 is actually really just the next iteration of the internet, right? It incorporates concepts like blockchain and token-based economics and decentralization. It adds a layer of accessibility and also of connectivity that you kind of miss with some of the more passive Web 2.0 platforms. And Web 3.0 really brings things together in a way that adds a layer for the consumers in terms of accessibility. So these are some examples of platforms that are currently using Web 3 as the base functionality and at their core DNA. So sites like OpenSea or sites like Coinbase or Polygon, they really are Web 3 based platforms that are focused on that functionality right at their core.
Awesome. So let's get into kind of what we're here to talk about and what NFTs actually are. I'm sure everyone has heard of NFTs, has been exposed to them in some form or fashion. But really, what are they, and what does it mean for us in the music industry, right? Is it a cartoon monkey, right? Is it an 8-bit degenerate? Is it just a get-rich-quick scheme? It's actually pretty simple. At a high level, it is a token that lives on a blockchain that is associated to some distributed type of media. And I know that sounds jargony and totally makes sense, and we're good, right? That's it? We're done? Let's dive into those a little bit and just talk about what that means for us in the music industry. So the token itself is really just, think of it as a unique identifier. It is proof that what you purchased, be it a picture, be it a song, be it a video, that this is proof that this is uniquely yours and is distributed on what is called the blockchain, which we can just think of that as a database, a very, very simple database that says this happened from this person, right? It's just a ledger that keeps track of everything that's ever happened, and everyone owns a copy of the ledger. So the core piece of what an NFT is, that token part of what the non-fungible token, what that stands for, is just a unique identifier that says that you own this piece of information. The thing that separates an NFT from what we think of as like a normal crypto token, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, like something that is fungible in the sense that it is like all tied to the same value, is something called smart contracts. So smart contracts really enable that extra layer of information. So if you think of this token being a unique identifier, I own basically this like long string of numbers that says I bought this thing. Well, smart contracts allow us to do a lot of cool things with that long string of numbers. Smart contracts at the end of the day are basically just like small bits of code that live on the blockchain that we can tell to do all kinds of things. We can tell them, most importantly, and at its core level, to point to a piece of media, like the song or the video in the earlier example, your CryptoPunk, your Bored Ape, have you. But what's kind of interesting for us in the music industry is that we can do a lot more with that, right? We can actually, inside these smart contracts, we can program in royalties. So if you think about you as an artist, when you release and sell an album, like let's say you sell a physical vinyl pressing of, a single you put out or an EP or something like that, you get your splits through your record label or whatever agreements that you have from that primary sale. But if someone takes it to the record store and sells it after that, like you see nothing of that. And that's just kind of how things work today. With the advent of smart contracts, and because everything lives on this ledger system that keeps track of all transactions that have ever happened, we can actually program into these smart contracts that when someone sells it after the fact, you still get royalties. You still get a programmed percentage based on you being the content creator of this token. You still get your percentage splits after the fact. So it's an entirely new revenue stream for artists that really, has not existed up until today. And then that last piece of that media, that distributed, like massively distributed peer-to-peer network of where those files, that picture, that audio, like where that lives. So it lives in the largest kind of mass adopted is called IPFS. It's basically just a peer-to-peer file share service. If anyone here watched the show Silicon Valley, Pied Piper, it's effectively the same concept, right? It's just a massive peer-to-peer network. What that means for fans of music and what it means for artists is, I know myself personally, when my favorite artist, like let's say an album gets pulled from Spotify, and I no longer can listen to that because like the concept of owning music is not as strong anymore. Like we're more consumer based and not so much as collectors and owners with music as much anymore. It's kind of gone. Like I have no other way to access that. When you interact with a song on the blockchain, due to the nature of it living inside this ledger and living on this massively distributed file system, there is no pulling. You're not pulling the content. If you purchase this song, it lives with you forever. It's back to like the concept of like you buying a physical vinyl or buying a CD or buying a tape, right? Like you own that. Like it's not, you're like that content doesn't go away. And I mean, we think that that's a pretty powerful idea. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what the industry has done with this. Like what has happened? What have we done with NFTs in the industry so far? Whether or not you know anything about Web3 or know anything about NFTs, I'm sure everyone here knows who Snoop is, most likely. He has kind of made himself the mascot of NFTs in the Web3 space. Like he has really dove into this whole concept. He's converting his entire label to be a Web3 label. He's notably, he's had multiple concerts in the metaverse, which is basically, it's like think of it like a massively multiplayer video game, right? Where he performs concerts, but he can reach a worldwide audience from one show. He can have people that, watching from the US and from the Netherlands and from Tokyo, all over the place from one show. And that's a really powerful thing as an artist, right? Being able to have a show and have people from all over the world attend your show from their homes. It's a very, very powerful concept. And in just less than a year since he has kind of been going down this path, he's released 2 full albums, both of which have sold out in minutes and generated millions of dollars. Another artist that is really has been really interested and really passionate about growing in this space, which I think everyone here will kind of resonate with and is excited about, is Tiesto. When we dropped Tiesto's NFT earlier at EDC Vegas this year, his vision was really, he wanted a way for this to be able to engage with his fans in a way that he hasn't been able to do before, right? There's, you can always target and segment people out of your Twitter followers, your Instagram feed, and all that kind of stuff, but he wanted a way that to be able to give something to his fans and allow them to really feel connected back to him. And so we released what's called the All Access Pass for Tiesto. And so shortly after it was released, that evening or afternoon, he threw a private VIP party. And we broadcast the NFT on the side of the Hilton building in Vegas, basically as a beacon, calling out anyone that holds this NFT, anyone that came by the EDC tent, that this party is for you. This party is for his fans, his true people that want to be a part of it. There's a lot of other really cool stuff that is coming down in 2023 that you should just keep an eye on Tiesto and what we're going to be coming out with them. And so, just kind of lastly, so where do we see this going? What does this mean? We've seen kind of what we've done now, what is the next iteration? Where are we going with NFTs? What are they going to continue to enable for us as musicians, for fans, just for the industry as a whole? What we talked about with Snoop and these virtual concerts in the metaverse and being able to reach worldwide audiences, from someone's couch, is incredibly powerful. And we don't really see it as only being in this metaverse kind of video game concept. The true vision is, allowing live stream concerts with multi-camera angles, and being able to, attend these as a fan, following your favorite artist. And think of you as an artist and you have your fan base, and you can sell them a tour pass. They can follow you for every show that you go on your tour across a nation, across the world, and from the comfort of their home, right? And this NFT is the proof of ownership, and can't be duplicated, can't be copied. Someone can't, it has intrinsic value, and really just be able to connect with your fans. How many fans would want to follow their favorite artist, like the Grateful Dead, back in the day, just from your couch? It's an amazing advent, and really where I see the future going there. If you think about music and how it's being consumed today, we've kind of gone through a cycle where we've been largely kind of consumers, in the, probably the past 10 years with the advent of streaming, and it's almost like a passive experience with audio. But vinyl has really taken a resurgence. Just this year, we've already surpassed $1 billion sold in the vinyl industry, which is amazing, which really shows you that people care about collecting music. People care about owning music again. And so we think that, there's a real parallel to the, collector mentality of NFTs and this resurgence of vinyl. And so being able to create these digital assets that have high quality audio, that serve as a proof of authenticity and is something that is, resellable, and replayable at high quality, that's really a parallel that we think is going to be growing massively with NFTs, and just the collector kind of mentality in music in general. And then lastly, using Tiesto as an example, that wanting to create those intentional VIP kind of experiences with your fan base is really the next iteration of what music is. Like a lot of people talk about, and anyone that's familiar with the Web3 space, this, asking for utility. Like what can my NFTs do? And I think this is the great initial example of how we can evolve music, how, albums don't have to be static if you own something, because we control, what the content actually is. We can evolve the album. We can allow remixes to happen on an album you already own. We can allow people to use that album to get into concerts, allow them to get into VIP access rooms, allow them to, access exclusive content like a recording session. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's just so many cool things that we can do with this technology that we're just scratching the surface with right now.
Awesome. So in order to capture all the things that Adam's talking about and really bring that accessibility, it's important that we go all the way back and we look at music history from a collectible point of view. 1931 was when the first vinyl came out, right? And as we move from 8-tracks, cassettes, CDs, MP3s, there was always this element of something that you could physically own, something that was collectible, something that was tradable, something that you could build a legacy with, for example, passing down your vinyl collection to your kids or your grandkids. I know personally I have vinyl that my dad and mom have given me that's super important to me. So there's this element of ownability and collectability. And around 2008, when the streaming ecosystem really started to take off, and if you go back to the slides at the beginning, that was really when Web 2 kind of had like its, dawn of era, when all the real social networking and sort of like passive movements started to come to life. That was when the streaming ecosystem really took off. And the streaming ecosystem is healthy, it's convenient, right? It's super easy for everybody to use, but what music NFTs offer that doesn't exist in the current streaming ecosystem is that ability to own and to collect and to connect with like-minded superfans across the world, be able to transfer your NFTs, to trade them. They're also programmable, as Adam was saying, so they can evolve over time. One of the things that we did with Tiesto, for example, is an NFT that evolves over time. For artists, it's super important. Music NFTs are very, very global in scope, and this ability to have real-time royalties and to be able to track the royalties and a transparent ledger is huge, especially for artists. And then you get into the analytics piece, right? I'm not going to nerd out with analytics, but there's robust analytics that come along with music NFTs that artists don't currently have access to. You know exactly what your fan base wants and how the audience is being engaged and what they're into and what they're not. So these are elements that music NFTs add as a real complement to the streaming ecosystem. So when we look at the future of NFTs, we always talk about it from two different perspectives because there really are like two sort of strong columns or strong pillars in terms of the utility that NFTs can offer. The first is for the artist side, and the second is for the fan. So as an artist, of course, you're gonna be able to, or you want to, I should say, you wanna be able to find and directly engage with those super fans. Music NFTs offer you the ability to do that. Let's say as an artist, you have a $5 NFT that only your super fans are purchasing and you're limiting it to maybe a couple thousand. Those fans, those couple thousand fans, you can directly engage with, you can reward them, which is awesome. You can give them an expanded content offering that maybe the rest of your fan base doesn't have access to. And you can also customize that as an artist as needed. You can get feedback from those NFT holders. Did they like that track? Is there a certain city they want you to visit on your next tour? And it's all backed by blockchain technology that's secure and that's transparent. So as an artist, you have the ability to really customize what you want your NFT program to be and how you want it to come to life, and you can really control it in the way that you can't really do with the streaming ecosystem. Also important, I know we've talked about it a ton today, but those immediate and those transparent royalty payouts are huge. Anybody that was a part of your creative process that deserves a royalty on a song can immediately be paid, and it's transparent and it's listed on the ledger forever. So there's no way to dispute any of those royalty payouts. Also, globally verified and being compliant is massive too. So on an artist side, you can see there's a huge value add. But when we get to fans, this is where it gets pretty exciting because all of us are music fans, right? Like we're here because we love music. We're in Amsterdam at the conference because we love music. As a fan, this is something that I'm super excited about is you get to own your music. You get to have it forever. If your favorite artist gets pulled from your favorite streaming service, that collection's gone. However, with your music NFT collection, as you build it, that's yours forever unless you decide to trade it or you decide to sell it. You can pass it down, you can create a legacy, you can curate that collection. You can also connect with those like-minded fans around the world for your favorite artists or for discovery of new artists, which is huge, especially for emerging artists. You're able to kind of get yourself into the pool with some of the more established artists and really get your name out there. One of the things that we are really working on at Legend Music is to be able to enjoy your music NFTs on the go, to be able to trade and listen to them and enjoy them through the Legend Music player. And then that creates an access to like this ultimate fandom, right? And as we go back to the artist side and we think about the artist being able to customize what their NFT programs could be, you as a fan, that's like your ticket to ultimate fandom, right? Like your artist could say, okay, you're an NFT holder, I'm gonna give you access to this private live event. You're gonna have an early ticketing VIP option to this show. I'm also going to release a high-end rare collectible that's only gonna be available to a couple of you that maybe is a lost track or a lost studio session or something that's really special to the artist that allows you to connect with them at a much deeper level. And then, of course, you know, one of the most appealing factors of all of this is being able to get that unreleased and exclusive content that's specifically for the blockchain. So there really is like a very strong, you know, complement for artists, but for fans, it's even bigger because it gets you closer to those artists that you know and that you love.